Hi there, and welcome to Apple World. It seems as though it's the time of dark specialists emerging to stand firm against the business, and Terrence Howard is the furthest down the line craftsman to emerge to talk about it. He is at last uncovering what compelled him take off from Hollywood, and kid, the things that happens in the background are simply upsetting. Now, people of color coming out to talk on this is nothing new in light of the fact that we've seen a couple of them step out in the past to discuss how the business attempted to undermine people of color, yet no one truly focused on them, and when individuals listened, they didn't completely accept that the men and blamed them for clout pursuing. Yet the circumstance is by all accounts progressively changing now, since Terrence Howard is currently talking on similar circumstance. And individuals are really listening this time around on the grounds that Terrence is guaranteeing that the genuine explanation he took off from Hollywood and chose to resign as an entertainer is that the business was attempting to weaken him, and when he declined, they began getting the message out around that he was challenging to work with, which is something that we've seen and heard much throughout the long term. Currently, I'm not saying that Terrence is wonderful in light of the fact that, since he has had too much debates, and at a point it was beginning to seem like his contentions were greater than his whole vocation, since he just couldn't avoid inconvenience. Back in 2010, Terrence caused problems for putting stop on his most memorable spouse. And keeping in mind that this was an embarrassment, it wasn't whenever he first caused problems for putting Paul on his better half. In 2011, his second wife Michelle Gent phoned for and got a controlling request on him, charging him of D.V. He hasn't denied these charges and has spoken about them openly in interviews, like the time he conceded to slapping his second spouse before their children. He said, "She was conversing with me, genuine amazing, and I
flipped out and slapped her before the children." That is screwed up on such countless levels, yet it did literally nothing to his profession. And he kept on booking acting gigs. As a matter of fact, after his admission, he kept on getting a few quite large jobs, including the lead job of Lucius Lyon in the hit show Realm. Yet for reasons unknown, he haphazardly reported in December 2022 that he was resigned in from the business. This was carrying of odd on the grounds that, like I said, he was still a lot of popular. Well, it just so happens the response to that is very subtle in light of the fact that he guaranteed that the business was attempting to drive him into a few awkward circumstances that he viewed as weakening. Terrence has since emerged from retirement, yet that hasn't prevented him from talking about the odd piece of business that attempted to inspire him to wear dresses.
This is definitely not another allegation on the grounds that 2 or 3 people of color have emerged to blame makers for attempting to drive them into wearing dresses in films in any event when it fails to help the plot of the film and is a totally pointless scene. Dave Chappelle has been attempting to tell us for a really long time that the business attempted to make people of color delicate deliberately by driving them to wear dresses and act ladylike in films. This has prompted various precarious circumstances in the past where he beefed with a few industry forces to be reckoned with over this. He even had an extremely promoted meet with Funny TV, and after that he nearly left the business. He later went on Oprah show to discuss the genuine explanation he
F'd the business and moved to Africa, guaranteeing that he turned down a huge $50 million arrangement since he was being compelled to put on a dress by Martin Lawrence. Like when I associate specs that perhaps ought not be associated, I don't know, however specific spots, like when I see that they put each person of color and the films and the dress sooner or later in their profession, I'd be associating them down, like why this multitude of siblings got to wear dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a film with Martin. No doubt the film is going great. So I stroll in the trailer. I'm similar to man. This should be some unacceptable trailer cuz there's a dress in here. They come in, the writer comes in. I believe he's essayist. He's like, "Dave, listen. We got this humorous scene where Martin's escaping prison. So he camouflages you as a whore. He put this dress on, and what a whore. Currently, I'm not doing that. I feel really awkward with that. And before you all begin discussing how Dave might have had a discussion about how he would have rather not worn a dress, let me stop you there. Since he had that discussion, he uncovered that he had a plunk down discussion with the makers of the film and let them know that he would have rather not worn the dress since he felt like it was totally pointless for them. Film it filled compelling reason need to the film and might have handily been taken out from the film without any progressions to the plot. However, rather than attempting to come to an understanding with him and attempting to figure out something with him, the makers rather got the chief, and they attempted to gaslight Dave, calling him troublesome and difficult to work with, and attempting to compel him to wear the dress even after he more than once said no, that ought to have been in a conversation. What you feel awkward with it? I mean, it's a diverting piece. Every one of the greats have done it so well. Every one of the greats have done. It's sort of hacky, right? You're correct. So for what reason don't We simply not do it because I feel really awkward. We the dress gracious, come on, Dave. Listen, we have everything set up. We should shoot each other consistently. You midriff cost this much cash. You realize the strain comes in, and I'm currently not wearing a dress. Man, I'm more entertaining than a dress. This gives me something interesting to say. I don't wear a dress to entertain one of my Milton. BSBL, you realize we're going this way. And afterward, at long last, he's like, and he leaves, and afterward, like, the chief comes. Dave, it truly would be perfect, assuming that you wear the dress. What up is this Brokeback Mountain in here? Is it really good or bad where I need to wear the dress I need to wear? You understand what I mean, gracious golly folks, so troublesome they leave man. The makers come on. David would be so extraordinary. And afterward, I began contemplating every one of the comics that I've seen. Man, solid siblings. Why for what reason are we placing us in these dresses? Yet you all have a difficult ability. Dave is on the grounds that he held his foot down, and the makers in the end needed to surrender on the grounds that Dave clarified that it was basically impossible that he planned to yield to the tension. However, hang on in light of the fact that it gets trickier on the grounds that it worked out that they had an option recorded by him. There was one more rendition of the content that they had composed in the event he didn't surrender to the strain to wear the dress. For one, this implied that he was correct about how the scene in him wearing a dress was totally superfluous to the film. Then again, how could they pressure him for such a long time when they realized that there was another content composed that would function admirably the minute it was clear I was at a minute? Wearing a dress, I'm not wearing the dress, okay fine. Consider something different that returns 10 minutes after the fact be entirely different. How could you compose the scene so quickly? You know what it resembles, so you gotta take a look. Yet Dave was not the one in particular who had a comment about this on the grounds that Kevin Hart likewise sort of implied that this was something typical in Hollywood. While Kevin never expressly said that he could never wear a dress, he implied that he was additionally being constrained by the business to wear dresses. Oscar chose one show, Wallace, so it wasn't all that astounding several years down the line when Kevin showed up in a SNL drama wearing a dress a couple of years after the fact that a ton of fans accepted that he had offered his honesty to the business by wearing the dress, particularly since his vocation truly took off after he wore the dress, and he turned out to find success getting large, succulent roles and managing Netflix. Well, this is where Cat Williams bounced on the pattern when he had a meeting where he should advance the film he had been in Unnerving Film 5, and the discussion went to the job of people of color in the business. The Kevin Hart subject came up, and when he was asked to remark about the kickback that Kevin got for wearing a dress on SNL, very much we should simply say that Cat had a great deal to say regarding that Kevin doesn't need to stress over the thing individuals will say regarding him wearing a dress in light of the long queue of dress-wearing individuals before him. So presently we had Large Mom's House 1, 2, and 3. I've never seen Media in a jean suit. I think she wears dresses, so presently I'm saying for what reason are we singling out unfortunate little Kevin Hart since it was his chance next. Okay, at the time, individuals sort of excused his interest and his assertion, saying that he was a scheme scholar who was desirous of Kevin's achievement. Yet then again, there were individuals who accepted his words, particularly considering the things that we've been seeing dark specialists do. Fans have brought up the fact that there appear to be an ever-increasing number of entertainers who are beginning to make progress in the wake of dressing in drag on camera, referring to films like Large Mom's Home White Chicks, The Nutty Teacher. What's more, lately, craftsmen like Pronto, Ruff, and Jonathan Majors have additionally been confronting allegations of being womanly as opposed to areas of strength for being men. Rock got a great deal of reaction because of his Vogue cover with Rihanna, where fans felt like he seemed to be being compliant.
Jonathan Major then again got a ton of reaction for his front of Black magazine, since fans felt like the photographs were undermining. And as of late, likewise, in the Club Shay interview, Cat Williams uncovered that this casting business happens more frequently than we know, and that it frequently accompanies an exceptionally delicious check. He guaranteed that he is needed to turn down $50 million checks 2 or multiple times. As a result of this, I've needed to turn down $50 million 4 or multiple times just to safeguard. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.